Hey, welcome to my Reader's Journal, or welcome if you're brand new. I know that it's been a while since I've made a book review video, but I think that I've finally cracked how I want to take the direction of this video. And I've also been in a month-long reading slump slash video making slump, but we're finally getting over that. We're getting our life together, which I think I kind of jinxed myself because the last time I said that I was getting my life together in the last video, my life did not get together. So we're just going to hope that this time we get my life together. So without further ado, let's get started. So the book that I'm going to be reviewing in this video is Reconstructing Amelia by Kimberly McCreight. Now, full transparency, I did read this book at the end of January, and I know that as of this recording, it is the middle of March. Like I said, I've just been in a huge slump of reading and making videos, but I've also wanted to take the time to let my thoughts really cement because I was literally sitting on the fence with this book. I didn't know if I was leaning towards liking the book or disliking the book because there are things that I like about it, there's things that I don't like about it, and ultimately I came to the conclusion that there isn't really anything that pushes or pulls me in either direction. So I'm literally just stuck in the fence, and I think that's where I'm going to be with this book. But also looking back at some of the books that I've rated low in the past, this book to me is a better read, so that's why I am okay with having this as a 3-star read instead of lowering it down because I do think that this book is better than some of the 2-star books that I've read. So, with that said, I am ready to talk about the book. This first section is going to be spoiler free, so I'm going to be talking about the general plot and the characters in the broadest way I can to make sure that I'm not spoiling anything. But then later on, I will be having a spoiler section. That way, I can talk without being filtered. And then obviously, I'll let you guys know before I start that. Alright, so Reconstructing Amelia. This book follows two main characters, Amelia, who is a teenage girl, and her mother, Kate. So, very early on in the book, and it's also not a spoiler because it tells you in the synopsis, Kate gets a call from the school letting her know that she needs to go to the school because Amelia pretty much was like cheating or something, and she got caught cheating or plagiarizing. So, she had to go. But turns out that once she gets to the school, Amelia was found dead, and they have the suspicion that she jumped from the school building. Now, weeks after that happens, Kate finally goes back to work, and literally on her first day back at work, she receives an anonymous text message saying that Amelia didn't jump. And again, not a spoiler because it'll tell you right in the synopsis. But the rest of the book follows Kate trying to figure out the legitimacy of this text, trying to see if it's true, if it's not, if it is true, like what happened, and like who then is responsible if Amelia didn't jump. So, in the process of Kate trying to figure out what happened in Amelia's life, she's pretty much, as the title says, she's reconstructing her daughter's life. And she learns a lot of secrets. And this book also goes through Amelia's point of view. So, we're able to see things from her perspective from the weeks before the incident, days before the incident, and even the hours before the incident as well, which I really like because we were able to really experience Amelia's life and see things through her perspective and get like the full context of things. But I did like having Kate's perspective along with Amelia's because as Kate is trying to figure things out and as she discovers things out a bit Amelia's life, we as the readers have the full context because I try to imagine reading this book without the context from Amelia, and if I am only following Kate's perspective and we're discovering the things that we are discovering, I don't see myself fully grasping the, I guess, depth of the situation. Whereas with Amelia's point of view, I have all the puzzle pieces there and I'm able to fully realize things as Kate is figuring things out as well. And I think for me, knowing Amelia's point of view and really knowing what she was going through really put a new perspective on things as I'm reading. And it was kind of intriguing towards the end because I know obviously that she dies, right? But the whole thing is trying to figure out, did she jump or did someone push her? And it got to the point where like everything that was happening to her and me knowing the full context of like how she was feeling and how things were like leading up to that point, even I was on the fence of like, wait, did she actually jump and like end her life, or did someone from the story do that to her? Because I was able to see it in both ways. And I think as a book, that is such a good aspect. Like, again, you know that the character died, like, that's for sure. But you're trying to figure out how it happened. And even though, like, I know that it kind of leans more on one way, there's enough that makes you wonder, or at least it made me wonder, like, wait, but what if she did? What if she did jump? Like, what if it was her decision and she decided to jump? And I think part of that also made me make a connection between the book 13 Reasons Why. Clarification, the book, not the TV show. But the reason why I was making that connection was because if it turns out that at the end Amelia did jump and end her life, that would correspond with that book, because throughout this book, again, through Amelia's point of view, we are seeing how things are leading up to that point of her making that decision. Um, and then the other connection that I was making was Pretty Little Liars, because that was more of a murder instead of a um, death by choice. And I will be honest, I have not seen Pretty Little Liars, so I can't even talk too much about it. I just know that there was a murder in that one, I think. And then the connection that I was also making was, I know that they get like anonymous text messages from someone, right? And that aspect of getting anonymous text messages was in this book, and that's the connection that I was making, because Kate, the mom, was receiving anonymous text messages. Amelia, while she was alive, was also receiving anonymous text messages related to her dad that she didn't know. So to me, I was making that connection. And then the last other like piece of media that I was kind of connecting this book with was Gossip Girl. That one I did watch, but the reason why I was making that connection was because just like in that show, in this book you have someone who is anonymous making these blog posts about the students, and obviously some of them were related to Amelia, and we learned a little bit about like how the situation of the atmosphere is within the school based on those blog posts. But yeah, that's what I have for the spoiler free. Like, if you if you like Gossip Girl and Pretty Little Liars, and I don't think 13 Reasons Why is something that you necessarily like, but like if you appreciate like that aspect of like getting like inside someone's head, then I think those three you would be able to really enjoy this book. Um, I think the mystery, for the most part, is well done. There's mysteries within the mystery, and I think overall the characters are empathetic and you can feel with them and everything. And it was pretty much a quick read. I think I read this in like 2 days. Granted, that second day was a Saturday, and I spent my whole day reading it so I can finish it before January ended. But yeah, for me, I rate this a 3. Like, I'm literally on the fence. I can't sit here and tell you that yes, I like this book. Like, I um want to like share it with like my friends and everything. But I'm also not going to sit here and tell you that I dislike the book, that I wish that I never read it, or that it needed more well, just that it needed work. I can't do that either. Like, I'm literally in the middle. All right, so with that said, this is the end of my spoiler free section. Now I'm going to be talking about this book unfiltered. So if you do not want to be spoiled, now is the time to hop off. But yeah, I got to start. So the first thing that, well, let's talk about the dad elephant that's in the room. If you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't read the book, here's the here's the deal. Well, let me answer this question first, actually. Some of you who've read the book might be like, wait, why am I talking about this first? The reason why I'm talking about this first is because it is the thing that upset me the most about this book. Like, Kimberly, our author Kimberly, was cooking. Like, she was making such a good story in all the right places. But Amelia's dad, the mystery of Amelia's dad, was not one of them. Like, riddle me this. How are you going to have Amelia's dad impersonate a gay teenage guy, email Amelia pretending to be that person, trying to form like a friendship? What? Like, the whole Ben aspect to me was weird, and I knew that it was going to come into play. So like, it wasn't weird that like I thought it was just like randomly put in the story, but it was weird because it's a weird situation. There's someone who's emailing you that you don't know, and they're pretending to be someone who they're not. And but obviously Amelia doesn't know that, but they just email you out of the blue. And then for us as the reader, we find out that that person that is emailing and consoling and like befriending Amelia is Amelia's dad, who she doesn't know is the dad. And like, the thing is, I understand the aspect of a grown man who just recently found out that he has a daughter that he didn't know about, and he wants to connect with her and have like that family connection that they didn't have in the past, right? I completely understand that aspect because that's something that happens in real life all the time, something that we see in media all the time. So like, I completely understand that. And like, it could have been done in so many different ways, but Kimberly, for whatever reason, like, I don't know what was happening, she decided to write it the way she wrote it. And like, that's crazy behavior. Like, that's like the one thing, like, I was enjoying the book, and then once that happened, I was like, what? Like, it brought the rating down because of that, because I'm like, this is such an unnecessary thing, like, this is such a crazy thing, and I don't think that his character deserved that. Like, I genuinely feel like there could have been so many different ways like you could have handled this, and that being the one you chose, I I don't agree with it. All right, but anyways, moving on. Let's talk about Dylan. Dylan, Dylan, Dylan. I'm gonna be frank with you guys. I don't like this character, and I don't think it's a character that we were supposed to like in the first place. Like, Amelia has this relationship with Dylan, and I am okay with like how it started and everything. But then, like, you guys tell me what's worse. Like, play this game with me. Like, humor me. What is worse? Having, well, receiving text messages from a guy you have never known, and that person ending up being your dad, and like the like the text messages are innocent, like they are very like friendly and like supporting and whatnot, but like, turns out they're your dad who you've never met before. Or having this relationship with this girl who you end up trusting, and then at the end of your relationship, she allows her best friend to basically take a video of you in the nude and like send it out to, like, I don't remember if it was everyone, but like, she sent it out to people. Again, your girlfriend doesn't defend you, like, she literally leaves and allows you to be humiliated, bullied, harassed, and she does nothing to stop it. Like, she literally ghosts you, she doesn't talk to you, like, she doesn't do anything at the end. Like, again, you tell me which one was worse, the dad situation or the girlfriend situation. But yeah, at the end of the book, I didn't like Dylan. I don't think it was a character that we were supposed to like anyways. Like, I know that at the end she does talk with Kate, um but I don't think that was enough to like redeem her, and I don't think Kimberly was trying to redeem her. But I think that at the end of the day, this is just a character that I don't care for anymore, and will never be thinking about this character moving past this review. Alright, so next I have to talk about this ending. I think that the ending of the book honestly is rushed. It is pretty much where Kate finds out what happened to Amelia, and I kid you not, like within one page, the book ends. Like at most it'll be 2 pages, but I'm pretty sure it was just one page. Like Kate finds out what happened, and then after the one page, like the book is over. And as a reader, I want to see consequences. Like Amelia was going through so much shit. Like I wanted people to be arrested. I wanted people to be called out. I wanted people to lose their job. I wanted the community to hate these people, and I wanted to see justice being done. And the book like that, we didn't see it. And granted, at the end of again the last page, there were certain like sentences that like told us like what happened. Like I think the best friend of Dylan, whose name I don't remember, but I know started with a Z, she I think moved to a new boarding school. The sorority was like disbanded. Dylan is now like depressed, I think. You've got the best friend who did push Amelia by accident. We don't even know what like is gonna happen to her. We have the PTO mom who was crazy as hell. She was let go from her position. You have the teacher who was running the gossip situation, and I think she was let go, but I also don't know that for sure. And that's like the problem. Like a lot of these things like that I just said were said in the book like within one sentence, and like I feel like I would have liked to see it like explored. Like again, I wanted to see that justice being done, and I think the ending just being that one page was just really rushed and it didn't really do justice. But I also want to point out I read this book at the end of January. Right now it is middle of March, so I've had time to think about it, and I have come into the conclusion that I am now more okay with this ending. And the reason why is because at the core of this book, it is about Kate, who is trying to figure out what happened to her daughter. She's trying to find out the truth. And at the end of the book, she finds out the truth. She knows that Kate, no, she knows that Amelia didn't jump. And after that, the book ends. And again, it makes sense because mom found out what happened. So to me, I'm okay with it. Now, that's not to say that justice doesn't have a part to play. That's not to say that justice shouldn't be like something that the book should have explored. Like I feel like it still should have, but at the core of this book, it's not about justice. It's about finding the truth. All right, so for this next part, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the last part too, I if I could hand deliver flowers to Kimberly McCreight, I would do so for this specific reason. There is a heartbreaking moment, and I say that as someone who normally does not get heartbroken with books. Like I will read them and I can empathize with stuff, but like me actually feeling heartbroken is very rare, and this book did it. Which again, you might think, but wait, aren't you rating it 3 stars? Yes, because the whole dad situation sunk it. Like, dude, what? But okay, you see, what happened was at the beginning of the book, you have a scene in Kate's perspective as she's getting ready for work. She's rushing to get to work because she has a lot to do. And in that moment, Amelia is trying to talk to her. She is trying to convince her mom to let her go to like a boarding school for like for the next semester. And Kate in the moment is like, no, but it's not a hard no. Like we will talk about it, but like right now, it's a no. And like that's pretty much it, right? Then, as the book goes forward, again, you get Amelia's perspective as things are leading up to the day of her death. We get more context of what's happening in her life, and then we get that same exact scene, but in Amelia's point of view. And that was like the most heartbreaking thing I've ever had to read because at that point, like, we know she's not trying to just go to a boarding school just because she feels like it or she thinks it's going to be cool. Like, she is trying to get away from the situation that she's at. she has been getting bullied and harassed so much that she feels like she needs to get away. And even like Ben, who again being her dad, but she doesn't know is her dad, him making that suggestion of like, hey, maybe this would be a good idea, like giving you a space from this situation, like again shows that dad was looking out for her, but like again in a weird ass way. And again, the thing that was so heartbreaking was that Amelia was so close to telling her mom the truth and like telling her everything. Like she was ready to be like, Mom, this is happening. Like I need help. And I feel like that was such a huge turning point because if Amelia did tell Kate what was happening, Kate would have called off. She would have moved mountains. She would have dug any hole necessary, flown to the sun, and survived it. Like was the she's the type of person that will do anything for her daughter, and we see that through this book, right? The second that she finds out the possibility that Amelia didn't jump, like she is ready on the ground, like she's like, I need to find out the truth right now. And if Amelia had told her the truth, like the ending would have been so different. And that to me was the heartbreaking point because again, you have a daughter who is trying to convince her mom to let her take this space from this environment because she doesn't feel safe being on here, but she's not really explaining the full truth, but she is ready to do that. But Kate, again, not knowing the whole like the situation that she's in, Kate again on her way to work is a single mom. She's like busy and like stressing out like within her job and everything, like again, because even with her, she's like saying no to the idea, but being still open to it. She's like, we can talk about it later. But then later comes, and Amelia's like, oh no, never mind, because she like feels like things are looking up now. That was heartbreaking. Like, did I cry? No. Could I have? Probably not, because again, I'm not like too much of an emotional person when it comes to like tears and everything. But did it break my heart? Yeah, it fucking broke my heart. I was like, bro, tell your mom. Like, she will literally do anything for you. And it didn't happen. So the book happened how it happened. Anyways, I have to leave it at that. The book, again, 3 stars. There's nothing that really made me hate it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I hated the book or I disliked the book. Like, I disliked some things and I told you what they were. Um, but I'm also not gonna sit here and like rave about the book and say that it was amazing and like I like the book and everything because again there are aspects that I like about it, but I'm very much in the middle. I can see people liking the book more than I did, which congrats to you if that is you. But I can also see people disliking the book. But yeah, that is where I'm at with this book. If you've stuck around this long, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment your thoughts on the book. I'll be sure to read them and then comment back. But yeah, thank you so much and have a good night.